Hi, I'm Rupal. How are you all? I finally watched Barbie and I am obsessed with that movie because that movie was just so nostalgic. Like the first half of the movie just kept reminding me of my own childhood and how I used to play with Barbies, how I used to draw on them, how I used to change their clothes and everything. And the movie just felt so authentic. And then the second part happened where Barbie goes to the real world, tries to find the person who was playing with her, and just trying to find her own individuality. In choosing to find her individuality, she also helps Ken to separate himself from Barbie and to become just Ken. And yeah, the whole movie is just so beautiful that it got me thinking, what kind of books will Barbie like? So I made a list. I am going to share that list with you today and I hope you like that. This first book I think Barbie would relate to the most because this is exactly her story, and that is Piranesi by Susanna Clark. This book is about Piranesi who lives in this building that is filled with halls and rooms that is filled with statues, different sizes and shapes and ways of statues. Basically, he is a scientist who studies these statues and the tides and whatever he finds in these corridors and halls. As long as he can remember, he has lived in these halls, lived with these statues, and then one day suddenly he finds that a message has been written on a wall which completely alters his life because he realizes that the world he is living in is not true. There is another world with a lot of other people. This completely changes his life. He starts to doubt what he knows, and he is confused. He is just so sad. Yeah, just so confused as to how he has to feel, as to how he is supposed to feel. He doesn't know what he should do now. This is exactly, I think, what Barbie felt when she went to the human world and she realized that whatever things she had done in Barbie land did not actually apply to human world because they did not value the things that Barbie did in her place. She is also confused and lost and just doesn't know what to feel and what to do with the emotions that she is suddenly feeling. So I think she would relate to this book the most and she would just absolutely fall in love with this. It also has beautiful, mesmerizing writing. So if you have not read it, please do read it. If you're like me, you would not get this the first time. You have to read this the second time to understand that it is about loneliness and being comfortable in your loneliness, being comfortable in your solitude. And yeah, read this book if you haven't read it already. The next book is The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. This book is about Esther, who is completely fine, but then she starts falling into this spiral when she realizes that she did not get the job that she wanted the most. Now she does not know what exactly to do with her life, what exactly is her purpose, and it talks about feminism and womanhood and what it is like to be a woman. It is about her mental health journey, a beautiful, most amazing book with a lot of racism. So yeah, bear that in your mind when you read this book. It talks about Esther being so lost, being like she doesn't know why she exists. Like, what is her purpose if the things she wants to do the most, she's not able to do? And Barbie, when she goes to the human world and realizes that people do not value her as she thought people would, she also falls down this spiral of emotions, and she also does not know what is her purpose, what does she stand for, because she is supposed to be the stereotypical Barbie, and the stereotypicalness of her does not hold any value because people think that she does not represent the good things about being a woman. That going down a spiral would really help her relate to this book. This is one of the most amazing pieces of literature I have ever read, but it also made me so angry because of the racism that was in this book. Sylvia Plath disregarded every other race and color except for white and American people. She disregarded every single person living on the earth except for Americans. So yeah, read this book at your own discretion. The next book is a book that I think would help her find her way, and that is Letters to a Young Poet by Rainer Maria Rilke. This is a collection of letters that Rainer Maria Rilke wrote to this person that I don't remember the name of, and he gives wonderful, beautiful advices to this young man on how to become a poet and a better writer. But the advices that he gives in this book is just not applicable to a poet, but also applicable to a normal human being, because Barbie falls into a situation where she doesn't know what to do next. This book would certainly calm her down and help her move forward, if not find a way. I think she would just feel really positive while reading this book. The next book is Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata. It is about Keiko or Kaiko. She is 36-year-old. She has never had a boyfriend and she has been working in the same convenience store for 18 years. But the thing is that Kaiko or Keiko, she actually loves working at this convenience store. She kind of is autistic. If you read this book, you would understand, because although it is never specifically mentioned, she does fall on the spectrum. She doesn't want to fit in. She doesn't want to do what other women are expected to do. She doesn't want to get married. She doesn't want to have a boyfriend. She doesn't want to work somewhere else. It is fine that she is getting old. She doesn't want to stop working at this convenience store. This book is exactly what Gloria in the Barbie movie gave the speech for. This is exactly what she was talking about, how like women are expected to fit in this certain box, how they are supposed to be pretty, how they are supposed to never get old, how they are supposed to settle down before a certain age, how they are supposed to be working at a good place. It doesn't matter what they feel comfortable in, it just matters what the society thinks. This book is exactly what the Barbie movie stands for. So I think Barbie would really love this book. And also a really short read. So if you're in the mood for something feminist and just short and easygoing, you should definitely read this. It is an amazing book. Like, I love this book a lot. It was my 5-star read of last year, I think. The next book is kind of a couples therapy for Barbie and Ken, and that is Normal People by Sally Rooney. This is a book about miscommunication. The main characters in this book, Marianne and Connell, although like each other, they do not communicate with each other at all. Connell faces an imposter syndrome when he goes to college, and Marianne has her own list of problems that she's facing. This book is one of the most realistic books I have ever read. As I am growing up, I am able to relate to this book more and more, especially with Connell and him feeling like he doesn't belong in the circle of people he is surrounded with. Barbie really needs to read this book to understand how the human world actually works and how no one ever talks to anyone, no one ever communicates, because they don't know how you have to think about what you say to another person before actually saying it, because it would hurt their feelings and a lot of other things. And one of the most realistic pieces of literature, and also a couples therapy for her and Ken, because even they don't communicate with each other at all. No matter how hard Ken tries to tell Barbie that he likes her, Barbie does not care at all. She disregards his feeling until the end of the movie. So I think she really needs to read this book. They both would see themselves in these characters. The next book is If Cats Disappeared from the World by Genki Kawamura. And I always do this when I mention this book. Look at how cute the cat is. Like, I love this cat so much. Black cats are really, really cute. Although I'm afraid of animals, like I'm afraid of dogs and cats and everything, I just think black cats are the cutest things ever. This is about a person who is dying, and the devil comes and offers a bargain that he will extend his life by 24 hours if he is willing to make something disappear in the world. And the main protagonist agrees because he considers these stuff like time, mobiles, and movies, and some other things to be unimportant, because that is what we also think, you know. We have been so much accustomed to things like time that we do not realize its importance. We have forgotten how valuable they are. And so the one by one the things disappear, and he realizes how important those things are in our life to lead our life. It is the materialistic things that make us feel alive. Watching movies, listening to songs, reading books, you know, having the time, going by train, having a phone, all such things really help you live your life. And these are the things that ultimately matter, because if it was not for these things, then what would you actually do in your life? You would just go to work, you would eat, you would have a roof over your head and have clothes to wear, but what would you be actually doing to live and enjoy your life? Barbie is at this stage in the beginning of the movie where she considers being pretty and being ageless to be the most important things, whereas it is the mundane and the most unimportant things that are the most valuable in life. And this book would, I think, teach her that. I think it teaches some valuable lessons to people that is much needed in today's world. So yeah, if you haven't read this, go read this right now. It is also one of my absolute favorite books, because look at the annotations. It is completely pink and blue. I just love this a lot. It has a lot of quotable things as well. So yeah, go read this right now. The next book is Becoming a Wallflower by April Green. I do not remember this book at all, to be honest. It is a collection of poetry and prose, which I remember loving a lot, because it was really meaningful and relatable for me. There is one poem written in the book description. I'll read it to you. It's okay if you're not yet where you want to be. Remember, you don't always notice the sun rising in the sky until one day you feel its warmth touching your face and you realize how much you have grown. I think this is the quote that is just made for Barbie. This book is filled with quotes like this, like, you know, rediscovering yourself, finding your identity, finding your place in the world, you know, finding a purpose. This book is exactly what Barbie needs when she travels to the human world and decides to become a human. Again, spoiler alert if you haven't watched the movie. But yeah, this is exactly what Barbie needs right now, what will help her find her way forward. Lovely book. I absolutely adored this. I remember, but I don't actually remember what was written in this book. That is really strange. The next book is Kim Ji-young, born 1982. This is about a Korean woman named Kim Ji-young who was born in 1982. It is about her living in Korea and facing difficulties because she's a woman. Like, she's a mother, she's a sister, she works in the office, she is a wife, but she's not an individual, because people don't view her as an individual. People always see a mother, a sister, a wife, but they don't see Kim Ji-young as Kim Ji-young. This really messes her up, because at one point, like the beginning of the book, we see her acting like her mother and grandmother and behaving in a strange sort of way that her husband had to take her to a psychiatrist to really help her. This is another book like Convenience to a Woman, where it talks about the things that Gloria was talking about in the Barbie movie. It encapsulates her speech perfectly in a bookish manner. So if you want to read a long version of Gloria's speech, I think Kim Ji-young, born 1982, is the perfect book for you. The last book is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. This is a book that I want to dedicate to the discontinued dolls, because Frankenstein is a book about Frankenstein who creates this monster but then completely abandons him because he does not turn out to be what Frankenstein thought. So now he completely disowns him. Now the monster is roaming in this world like a baby. He does not know anything of this world, and no matter where he goes, people only perceive him to be the thing that he is seen from outside. No one understands that he's just, this soft, sweet little creature. No one sees him like that. Everyone just sees a monster, and he has to live with it because of Frankenstein. Frankenstein created him and then completely forgot about him, and the monster only needs like a paternal figure, a family figure, and he does not get that. I think this is the case with the discontinued dolls as well, because they were created and then they were disowned. It is said in Barbie land that they do not hold any value at all. The Barbies and Kens don't even talk to them because they are discontinued, and they have to stay in a corner where people don't want to see them, people don't want to talk to them. Frankenstein is a story for those discontinued dolls, and also a great classic. If you haven't read it, you should definitely read it. It's also like small beginner's classic, so you would absolutely love it. So I hope that Barbie likes these books, because it took a lot of time to curate this list, and I hope you liked this video as well. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, bye.